Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Let's get into the next video. So, as I continue to delve deep into the ongoings in the UK with the extremism, etc., we get on to another article that has dropped but an hour ago in the Daily Mail online. So let's get the article up. And there we go. Right then. Pro-Palestine protesters are turning London into no-go zone for Jews, claims Britain's counter-extremism czar as he blasts the government for letting extremists go unchallenged for too long. Hold on a minute. There aren't supposed to be any no-go areas, are there? Any case, let's carry on with the article. So, Palestine protesters are turning London into a no-go zone for Jews, Britain's counter-terrorism czar has claimed. Robin Simcox slammed the government for letting extremists go unchallenged for too long and allowing extremist groups to fester. He warned the government that he allowed extremists to lurk just below the terrorism threshold. And if you just recently read that the Met Police don't really want to cancel any of these marches because they're fearful that it will lead to a terror attack. Which kind of sums it up really, doesn't it? Any case, since the start of the Israeli-Hamas war, thousands of pro-Plasticine supporters have marched through the streets of London. There's also been a huge increase in anti-Semitism in the capital since Hamas's October the 7th attacks, which saw 1,139 people killed and 240 taken hostage. Scroll down. Writing in the Telegraph, Mr. Simcox said Britain had a permissive environment for radicalisation development that needs urgently addressing. He added that the government needed to take a leading role in tackling all types of extremism. But they are. They've gained £31 million to protect themselves, and loads of them would rather work from home because it's just a little bit inconvenient, isn't it? Yeah. Once it's in your face, it's a problem. Counter-extremism czar said Downing Street now had the chance to take charge of the situation while championing respect of the rule of law, civility and decency, he said, which had been on short supply since October the 7th. Except there is law, civility and decency, but it only works one way, does it not? It is believed that Mr. Simcox hopes there will be tougher restrictions on protests that could include forcing marches to be static demonstrations instead. Yeah, and I wonder which demonstration they'll first kick that off on. And there is Mark Riley, under this guy here, big traitor. Two-tier man. We got rid of Cressida Dick and got this guy, which is even a bigger dick. But in any case. Dictator Rishi Sunak. Now, if you wonder why he wasn't voted for anyone and was put in place without a vote by even their own membership of the Conservative Party, therefore that's a dictator. He hasn't got any votes to say, so he's dictating what he wants to do. I mean, let's be honest, he's just one big massive puppet, but in any case, let's carry on. As previously called for the Met Police to take tougher action against protesters. He did that, and they had a protest the very next weekend, and they did, that's right, the same as always, which is absolutely sweet fuck all. Yet managed to turn up in riot gear to make sure that the Chelsea game was proper policed. Yeah. Two-tier policing. Every day of the week. And it's a shame to have to say that, but the police are not on our side. The police have become nothing but stormtroopers for the wrong thing. Any case, Sunak also has promised to deal with the root causes of the problem and ensure that no extremist organisations or individuals are being lenient, let legitimacy by their actions and their interactions with central government, except we just ignore one side. Yet Mr. Simcox said the government could also do by refusing entry to hate preachers touring the UK. Oh, we can't do that. Might upset them. I mean, France just fucks them off, but yeah. Next week, as was covered in a live stream on my channel, Michael Gove is set to announce a broader definition of extremism that will allow the government, universities and councils to stop funding for Ismailist and, there we go again, the magical right-wing groups, which are walking the streets every weekend in London, screaming hate whatever they want to hate that particular week, death to whoever they want. They're doing that, are they? Are they intimidating our politicians? Yeah. Are they getting down in the middle of the street for prayer meetings and blocking traffic? Yeah, that far right, yeah? Always comes out with that, but never proves anything. And still, what they're doing is just ignoring the problem still. We'll blame it on one section, so we'll still say it's right wing. It's these bloody right wing extremists who are doing literally nothing every weekend and haven't been doing anything really for months. Any case, let's carry on. Ministers are reportedly like to name which groups will fall under the new definition in Parliament when it's announced. The new definition could ban government officials from engaging with or funding individuals or groups deemed extremist, but will just welcome a load of lecturers in to say that Hamas shouldn't be called a terrorist group because he's a bit of an obstacle to peace. Again, covered in another live stream that I did just recently. Yet it has led to concerns from some on the right that it could be inadvertently penalising groups opposed to gay marriage, abortion and new transgender rights. Again, I covered, that's the same line that was in the previous article in a live stream. Yeah, whatever. Mr. Simcox said, while debates over a definition can feel like academic navel gazing when actual extremist acts are so common, by one side, may I add, by one side, there's just one side doing it. Let's get that out there. So far, the most extremist thing that right wingers done is put some stickers out. Yeah. The work does have a clear purpose. It will be used to guide future decision over who government does and does not want to engage with and fund. Bullshit. The government is right to act. Evidence that the state works or funds extremists has appeared in independent reviews or government strategies dating back over a decade. This needs to be fixed. New definition of extremism or not. Sorry, Mr. Simcox. Nothing's going to happen. They're just going to keep funding the way they want it. He suggests that the government already and its agency already powers to combat extremism, but has failed to tackle the groups that fall below the threshold of being terrorists. Indeed. He said Whitehall has more power to tackle extremism than it sometimes thinks. Well, of course it does. It just doesn't want it to do it. After all, the Iranian government does not have the inalienable rights to run schools and mosques in our capital city. Yeah, but it does, doesn't it? It is not an unalterable democratic principle that Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood be allowed to run multiple charities. But you haven't done anything about that because we don't want to do it. No. It's these goddamn right-wing extremists that are causing the problem, isn't it? Yeah. Notice that no right-wing organisation has been mentioned in those examples. Last week, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman urged Mr. Sunak to introduce emergency legislation to tackle extremism. Echoing Mr. Simcox's language, she said, parts of London are being no-go areas for Jewish people. That's totally unacceptable. We've seen anti-Semitism, put my teeth back in, skyrocket. Yeah, and that was immediately countered with, well, there's been a huge rise in Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hate, but not quite to the same level. They can still roam the streets, can't they? Whereas if you're Jewish, yeah, maybe not so much. You see, you can't say there's an increase in that when they're allowed to roam freely, jump all over statues, scream death to the Jews, sing from the river to the sea, projected on the side of Big Ben, terrorise, bully and threaten people, and even to the stage, as I said earlier, where Met Police are terrified of banning it in case it encourages them to do a terror attack. So, in other words, give us our march or we'll blow shit up, which is what they're saying. It's just, and yet again, it's still comes out with, and those right-wing extremists who are doing nothing. I've not seen a far-right extremist march for a very, very long time. To stop pretending and trying to just like deflect the fact that there is one group of people who are doing all this. There is one group of people who are causing you problems. There is one group of people who don't give a shit about us. They don't care about the country. They hate us. And yet it's still always the far right. Mrs. Braverman was responding to a speech by Mr. Sunak, in which he said there had been a shocking increase in extremist disruption and criminality since the Hamas attack in Israel October the 7th. He warned protesters not to let extremists hijack their march. They all sing the same song. They all chant the same thing. They stick together. They wave their banners, even though most of them, when interviewed, have literally no idea even where Palestine is. It's just something to do when we're bored on the weekend. Yeah, official figures show that anti-Semitism was at a record high last year amid the explosion of hatred by those evil far-right extremists, no doubt. No, it's not. In the Community Secretary's Trust Annual Report, it said there had been a surge in anti-Jewish attacks, threats and abuse, which had amounted to a celebration of Hamas's massacre of innocent Israelis. They still do it every weekend, and we do. Well, the police do nothing. Well, no, that's a lie. They do something. They see someone with a union flag, they'll go and arrest him. If they see a guy holding up a sign saying, "Is Hamas a terrorist organisation?" Yes or yes, they'll go and arrest him. If you film a protest and tell them to go away off your own doorstep, you will be threatened by the police. It's amazing that the police can do that, and then you go to a football match and they're there waiting for you in riot gear with the horses and everything for football fans. But for people celebrating and chanting death to the Jews, there were 4,103 anti-Semitic incidents in the UK last year, according to figures. This has nearly doubled the previous record in 2021, covering all types of hate against Jewish people. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Still continually, whenever we talk about this, bang on about the far right, that far right extremist groups. And then when we go a bit down there, well, the Iranian government shouldn't be able to build schools and mosques. It's not right that Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood are allowed to run charities. I don't see any mention of any far-right organisation there. Everything is two-tier. We live in a two-tier society now. It's blatantly obvious. And it's not right. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it's all right for them, but not for me. I'm just bored of this ridiculousness that there is at the moment. It's just beyond the joke. Genuinely beyond the joke. So there we go. Another article done. Another thing for people to peruse and read and observe and absorb. I just get really frustrated when everything is we won't talk about the actual problem without mentioning the far right. That's nowhere to be seen. I said in the previous stream, it really is enough that I'm a racist because I've got a union flag. I'm a racist because I don't agree. I'm everything. I'm a racist. I'm a sexist. I'm misogynistic. I'm transphobic. I'm every ism and obia that you can possibly imagine, just because I don't agree with it. I just don't agree with it. And as I said before, the only way that this particular problem would be solved, or had the potential to be solved, is if so-called moderate Muslims spoke out. If so-called moderate Muslims stood shoulder to shoulder with us and said no, no more, then maybe the bridges would be built. But that isn't going to happen, is it? I know it's difficult for them and with their religion and that, but it's also difficult for people like myself to do it as well. Because as soon as you do it, you become the enemy. I mean, if things go really, really bad and it goes the way that it potentially could go, I have to, and I have made peace with the fact that I would be a dead man. I'd take a few of the buggers with me before, but I would be. A couple of years ago, when I restarted this channel, I never expected to be doing these videos and having these conversations. What I wanted to do was talk about TV, film, science fiction, Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, and all these sort of things. I just wanted to play games and just have fun talking about them and not care about anything else. But then they began to change what I liked with political points of view, which actually awakened. I've always had this fascination with politics. I've always had this fascination about how things work. I also have a massive fascination on how something can be solved with common sense, but we don't do that. We just spend billions trying to come to a solution. It could be solved easily. Very, very easily. And when I start going out with my walks again in some upcoming videos, I'll actually explain how I would tackle these problems. It's all right me doing these, reading these articles and talking about stuff on here. But the simple truth of the matter is something has to be done. And if that means I have to take that mantle on, then I'll do it. But to do that, I have to give everybody a fair assumption of where I sit on things and how I would attempt to solve the problems. Now, when I do these videos, I would love the comment section for people to feel, whatever I talk about, to feedback. Because I'm learning this as I go along. But I've pretty much gathered that 99% of the stuff that's done in politics is pretty much easily fixed with just a little bit of common sense. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. What we've got in the House of Commons now and the political parties that we've got now are just self-absorbed, narcissistic, money-grabbing arseholes who are only interested in themselves. They're not interested in you or I. I mean, I know some local councillors do fantastic work, but that's on a local level. But if you look at politicians in general, they're not interested in anything other than themselves. It used to be an honour to serve as an MP. Now it's just a way of getting in to get easy cash. To treat those who put them in that position with complete and utter contempt and disdain, where they can charge us God knows what. So, as I said, there's another one, another article. I'm going to keep bringing them out. I am going to keep talking about this. I am very surprised, in fact, myself, of how much passion I have for this subject and how much passion I have for my country and my beliefs. So I'm not going to stop. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, share. Share being the most important one for me. Get the message out. Let everybody know out there that there are other people who think like you think. Now, you're not alone in all this. There are many of us, and we are getting more. Every week, there are more of us speaking out. And that's as it should be, and that's how it has to be. If you want to see some more videos and you like what I'm having to say, please feel free to subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. As always, on YouTube, I have the super thanks, super stickers. There is a membership, very, very cheap membership, where you can just subscribe. And once I get a few members in there, I'll actually start doing things that are going to be for members only. Currently I have one member, and it's not you. I mean, I think if I remember, the basic package is £1.75 a month, and that's it. It's not a huge amount. But if I, as I said, once I get 5 or 6, when it starts making it worthwhile doing a members only stream or stuff for just the members, then I'll start doing that as well. Yeah, I'm on Rumble, I'm on Discord. There is a link to both. In fact, there's a link to my Twitter, or X as it's called now, and Facebook. All of the links are down below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending what precious time you have with me. It's much appreciated. And with that, I shall look forward to catching you in the next one.